Hi, welcome to T1TV. I'm Asha Brown, and today we are talking with Scott Johnson. So one thing I want to mention is that a lot of you guys watching this today might already know who Scott Johnson is and what he does, but Scott is of Scott's Diabetes, that's his website, and he's also a very major diabetes advocate in the DOC. Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about diabetes advocacy? I know that's kind of a vague question, so specifically, what do you do for diabetes advocacy?
Sure, thank you. I think diabetes advocacy can be a big and scary term for a lot of people, and I think it's important to advocate to your comfort level. Mm-hmm. So if that means getting involved in the social media space, that's great. If that means just living your life with diabetes and telling your story to your neighbor or someone at the YMCA or whoever that might be, that's also being a diabetes advocate, and I think that's also equally as powerful.
I like that. I like that Scott also mentioned that you don't always have to do the biggest, most powerful thing, the online work. You can also work in your neighborhood and just speak about your diabetes, about your type 1, and educate people, and that is still a component of diabetes advocacy. If someone wanted to get started through the DOC, which is the diabetes online community, how would one start? Is there a website they should start with? Or, I mean, if you're a beginner and you're seeing all this stuff happen online, how do you get started?
I think it's one of the best things to do is just start exploring. So searching online for diabetes and blogging, or diabetes and videos, or diabetes and Twitter, or whatever the method is that you might be interested in. There's a ton of information out there, and you will need to invest a bit of energy and time in exploring that space a little bit, and you will find people that you connect with and that resonate for you, and you'll also find people that you don't connect with, and I think it's important to know that it's quite all right to not go back to those people, and you spend some time just checking it out, and the beautiful thing I think about the online community is that you can get active to your comfort level again. If all you do is read or watch videos or whatever, that's great. If you are moved enough to get involved and tell your story in one way or another, that's great as well. There's many different ways to get involved.
I love that, and it's really important that people understand that the DOC is very welcoming, and it really is an individual's comfort level of how much they want to get involved in the DOC. So moving along with that, I want to talk to you a little bit today about diabetes burnout. Mm-hmm. And diabetes burnout has been, which is great, a topic that's been brought up a lot this year in the DOC on Facebook and Twitter. Our good friend Ginger Vieira recently published Diabetes Burnout, and this is it's dealing with diabetes burnout. It's an excellent book, and honestly, I think anyone who has any type of diabetes should get this. I think it's really helpful for families and friends of someone with diabetes to get this as well. It's wonderfully written. You feel like you're reading from a friend. So with the topic of diabetes burnout, I feel like we're addressing it in the DOC, and we're finally talking about it, but there's still a lot that we're not specifically getting into with it. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about your own personal experiences with diabetes burnout, and how you address it, how you acknowledge it, and how you move forward from it.
Sure, thank you. I think the emotional side of diabetes is still a very underserved area in diabetes. So I agree that we're seeing more and more of it, but yet not enough. I give a lot of credit to Dr. Bill Polanski and Dr. Richard Rubin, who have done just tremendous amounts of work in that space and are kind of paving the way and have paved the way for many others to just acknowledge that space needs attention. And I think we're starting to see that beginning to be okay for us to acknowledge that there is an emotional side to living with diabetes. It's not all about the mechanics that we all know so well. So for me, diabetes burnout can happen in a couple of different ways. Sometimes it kind of creeps up on me over time, slowly, and other times it, as we've talked about outside of the show, there can be an event that smacks me right in the face, whether it's an acute event or something like that. But the first step for me is just acknowledging and giving myself space to recognize that I'm dealing with a bit of diabetes burnout. And sometimes I need space to just live there and cope with whatever it is that's going on that's causing that burnout. And other times it's better for me to kind of pull myself up
By the bootstraps.
That's exactly what I was thinking about, and say, okay, this is enough, and it's time to get back in the game.
I really like that. I like that you're not saying there's one specific better way to deal with diabetes burnout. As we've heard the phrase, your diabetes may vary, I think your diabetes burnout may vary as well.
Absolutely.
It looks different in everybody, and we tackle it or cope with it in different ways as well. And I also think that there's, every episode of diabetes burnout you might have will not be the same and may not be addressed the same way, depending on where you are in your life and whatnot.
I very much agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your words with us today. Thanks for being here at the beginnings of T1TV. And
My pleasure.
obviously, I'll see you around.
Absolutely. Thank you.